All bad things must eventually come to an end. Glory be to God. The 5th surah is the last of a lousy lot. With it the heavenly fraud was finished.
The feast
opens as one would expect from a doctrine named submission.
Quran 5 verse 1. Believers fulfill obligations. Verse 2. Believers violate not the sanctity of the symbols of Allah.
The Kaaba, the crescent moon, and the black stone.
Nor of the sacred month,
which Mohammed had violated to acquire Allah's symbols.
Fear Allah, for Allah is severe in punishment.
Mohammed's mantra never changed. The Quran provides a long list of prohibitions.
Quran 5 verse 3. Forbidden to you are dead meat, blood, the flesh of swine, that which has been killed by strangling, or by a violent blow, or by a headlong fall, or by being gored to death, or that which hath been eaten by a wild animal. This day those who reject faith give up all hope of your religion. Yet fear them not, fear me. This day I have perfected your religion, and I have chosen for you submission as your religion.
Putting the commentary on not eating dead animals aside, the change of voice from
fear Allah, for Allah is severe,
to
fear me, for I have perfected your religion,
is revealing. At best, the shift suggests that the author wasn't skilled at his craft, something that would be inconsistent with God. At worst, it's another confession. Muhammad slipped into first person because he was Allah. And the only thing perfected on this day was Muhammad's claim to the Kaaba. The only thing religious about any of this was the tyrant's use of the dogma to subdue his people. The next verse confirms what Islamic clerics deny and what the American media ignores. Allah is the name of the Islamic God. It was never the Arabic word for God.
Quran 5 verse 4. Pronounce the name of Allah, and fear Allah, for Allah is swift in reckoning.
Every time you read the word God in an Associated Press article emanating from the Islamic world, know that they are propagating this deception. Muslims have a perfectly good word for God, and they use it with great regularity. They say,
there is no Ilah but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger.
This deception lies at the very core of Islam, and thus of Islamic terror. If Allah isn't Yahweh, the Quran is rubbish. It's a horrid job of plagiarizing, nothing more. If Allah isn't Yahweh, Muhammad was speaking on his own behalf and for his own benefit. He could not have been among the line of biblical prophets. If Allah isn't Yahweh, the God of Islam is fictitious, an impotent mirage. But knowing that most people are blissfully ignorant, unwilling to read or think for themselves, they'll never know that Allah is the inverse of Yahweh. So this ruse works. Ritual is the substance of religion, the control mechanism for obedience, the opiate of the people.
Quran 5 verse 6. O you who believe, when you prepare for prayer, wash your faces and your hands to the elbows, rub your heads, and wash your feet to the ankles. If you are in a state of sexual discharge, bathe your whole body. But if you are ill, on a journey, or come from the privy, or have been in contact with women and find no water, then take clean dirt and rub it on your faces and hands.
But why bother to pray? The very same God that is ordering Muslims to rub dirt in their faces proclaimed,
Quran 78 verse 37, none shall have power to argue with the Lord, none can converse with him or address him.
If that is true, prayer is a waste of time. If it isn't true, then Allah is a liar, which makes him the wrong God to pray to. And lest I forget, Muhammad just said, women are dirtier than dirt. This may be the last surah, but there is no evidence Muhammad and Allah got better with practice.
Quran 5, verse 7. Remember Allah's covenant, which He ratified with you, when you said, "We hear and obey, and fear Allah."
The covenant which they ratified was the pledge of allegiance to Muhammad. This was another confession. Allah and Muhammad were one. This man created his God. The personality Muhammad attributes to Allah was as ugly as his own.
Quran 5, verse 10. Those who reject, disbelieve, and deny our signs, proofs, verses, and lessons will be companions of hell fire.
Returning to familiar religious patter, Muhammad slipped again. Allah was now plural. Could it be that they were a team, partners? Might Allah be to Muhammad what Mickey Mouse was to Walt Disney, a means to fame and fortune? Or did Muhammad know the truth? Did he recognize what he sensed the night this all began?
I fear that I have been possessed.
Then, in a desperate attempt to legitimize his counterfeit, Muhammad attempted to usurp Yahweh's authority. Whether deceived, delusional, or just dishonest, these erroneous claims are advanced to cast Allah as Yahweh and to authenticate Islam.
Quran 5:12. Indeed, Allah made a covenant of old with the children of Israel, and we appointed 12 captains among them. And Allah said, I am with you if you perform regular prayers.
Obligatory Islamic worship.
Pay the zakat tax with regularity.
The zakat was from Qusay, not Abraham.
Believe in my messengers.
Muhammad is referring to himself, not knowing that Yahweh never used humans as messengers. Angels are Yahweh's messengers. It is what the Hebrew and Greek word for angel means. Men were called to be teachers, to be prophets and priests.
Obey and support the messengers,
i.e., fight for Islam.
And loan Allah a beautiful loan.
Yahweh didn't need money, but Muhammad did to advance his war machine.
Verily, I will wipe out your evils, and embit you to gardens with rivers flowing. But if any of you, after this
message from Muhammad,
resist, you have wandered astray.
Not only did Muhammad falsely claim that his Islamic mantra was Jewish doctrine, his voice slipped back out of plural to singular, our to my. He didn't get any better at this, even with practice. Further, the biblical paradise isn't about rivers, and godly loans aren't equated to forgiveness. To help us understand these verses, the Noble Koran adds,
The Jews were ordered in the Torah to follow Prophet Muhammad.
The Noble Koran references Surah 7:157.
Those who follow the messenger, Muhammad, the prophet who can neither read nor write, whom they find written in the Torah, in Deuteronomy 18:15, and the Gospel, John 14:16, he commands them to Islam.
We've been through this drill before. While Team Islam couldn't read, I can. I can assure you that no Arab was called a prophet, and that no man was called a messenger. But he was right in a way. When the Bible spoke of Satan, it said that he would use prostration, taxation, terror, a new gospel, and a boastful false prophet to deceive mankind. Since the Quran translators were kind enough to provide the alleged Torah and Gospel references, let's review them. First, Deuteronomy 8:15. It begins, Yahweh, therefore not Allah, your Elohim, or deity, shall rise up and ordain for you a man who speaks by inspiration, predicting and teaching, from the midst or heart of you, from your brethren, i.e., a Jew, like me. You shall hear him. So that was a repudiation of Muhammad's claims, not a confirmation.